Peter and the Pocket Guide to Hunting Vampires and Other Demon-Like Creatures, Episode 2, Moonstruck by Rich Von Halt. Milena raced down the congested street, her foot heavy on the accelerator. She wove through traffic with fierce intensity, the city lights blurring past. Soon, the urban sprawl gave way to desolate countryside as she sped downhill for miles. A small hill of stacked rocks loomed ahead, the entrance to the cave nestled in their midst. Milena screeched to a halt, parking mere feet from the darkened maw. Inside the cave's entrance, shadows danced across the rock walls. Milena strode through purposefully, her collar popped, the dried blood on her chin a macabre reminder of Peter's father. The passageway opened into a vast circular cavern. Pulsing techno beats reverberated off the stone as hundreds of human revelers gyrated on the dance floor. Towering candles bathed the room in flickering light. At the center, on a regal throne, sat Dasko. The Vampire King appeared no older than his mid-30s, yet his eyes betrayed the weight of centuries. Bare-chested, clad in black leather, his bald head and dark gaze fixed intently on Milena as she approached. 2 taps of a finger summoned her. Milena shrugged off her jacket as she drew close, exposing the crimson stain. Dasko pulled her in, his tongue flicking out to lap the blood from her skin. Unique vintage, he purred. An older fellow than anticipated. How I crave the untainted savor of virgin blood. Milena's eyes roved the crowd of dancers. Alas, methinks none remain pure amongst this lot. Indeed not, Dasko agreed. A beat. And transportation? Procured. Ample trunk capacity. Excellent! With a spin of his finger, Dasko signaled the staff. In a flash, his visage warped, eyes flaring crimson, teeth elongating to wicked points, nails extending into claws, ears tapering, malevolent, predatory. The candles snuffed out, plunging the cavern into Stygian gloom. Shrieks of terror pierced the darkness as the demons descended upon their unsuspecting prey. Somber faces gathered around the grave as the priest intoned the final blessing. Paul Peterson was a good man, beloved husband and father. The casket descended into the earth. One by one, the Italian men embraced Patty and Peter, offering condolences. Dominic clasped Peter's hand. "Peter, this is unbelievable." "I know," Peter managed, his voice thick. "Listen, if you want to take some time, remember you'll always have a job at the agency." "Thank you, Dominic. I'll be there later today. I think it'll be good for me." Pete approached next. "Peter, if you need a ride, I'll come pick you up." "No, I can manage." "Okay, give me a call if you change your mind." As the mourners dispersed, Peter and his mother lingered, sharing a wordless hug. Grief hung heavy between them. Peter and Patty rushed into the house, drenched from the sudden downpour. They shed their dripping coats and sodden shoes. "Can you believe it started raining as soon as he went in the ground?" Patty remarked, shaking her head. "Yeah, I'm glad it held off during the eulogy at least." "Me too." Peter headed to change while Patty busied herself in the kitchen, the clatter of pots and pans failing to drown out the drumming of the rain. Minutes later, Patty sat smoking at the dining table, a spread of steaming dishes laid out before her. 2 empty plates waited expectantly. Peter emerged from his room in a garish Hawaiian shirt and khakis, clearly not dressed for a day of mourning. Patty silently served him a portion, disapproval etched on her face. "Peter, where are you going?" "I have to go to work." "What do you mean work?" Patty stabbed out her cigarette. "I just made all this food." "I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't realize you were cooking." "And how exactly are you planning to get to work?" "I figure I'll take the bus." "Bus?" Patty scraped his food back into the serving dish with a clatter. "Whatever, Peter. Go to work then." Peter hesitated at the door, glancing back. "Are you going to be okay?" Patty took a long drag, refusing to meet his gaze. "I'll be fine," she bit out, smoke curling from her lips. With a last troubled look, Peter stepped out into the gray, rain-soaked day, the door clicking shut behind him with an air of finality. The bus rumbled through the gray city streets, a microcosm of urban life. Peter sat near the aisle, his gaze distant, the weight of his father's death still heavy on his shoulders. He stepped into the bustling travel agency, a jarring contrast to the somber morning. Angelo and Luigi emerged from the back room, the former munching on a tuna sandwich, the pungent aroma wafting through the air. "Hey, Peter!" Angelo called out, bits of tuna flecking his lips. "Look who's here!" Luigi chimed in, his voice carrying a note of forced joviality. At the front table, Niccolo and Sergio barely glanced up from their card game, absorbed in the shuffle and deal. Peter nodded to them before approaching the counter, where Dominic and Pete stood watching him, concern etched on their faces. "Hey, Peter, are you sure you're good to be here today?" Dominic asked, his brow furrowed. "Yes, I'm good," Peter assured him, his tone belying the hollowness he felt inside. Dominic exchanged a look with Pete. "Okay, Peter. Pete, set him up." As Pete led Peter towards the back, Dominic turned to Angelo and Luigi, his expression hardening. "Let Peter settle in," he warned, his voice low. Once Peter was out of earshot, Luigi leaned in, his voice urgent. "Hey, Dom, there was a problem with the last shipment." Dominic's eyes narrowed. "Shh, not in front of the kid." They waited a beat, the tension palpable. Luigi continued. "The last shipment wasn't prepped. We're getting it whole from here on out." "Okay?" Dominic's tone was wary. "So, we're going to have to cut it up at the site. We're going to need more guys. 2 aren't going to cut it." Dominic clenched his jaw, turning away in frustration. His mind raced, calculating, strategizing. "I guess we'll keep Niccolo and Sergio on. I'll add Pete. You and Angelo will have to switch off," he decided, his voice brooking no argument. Luigi shook his head. "Me and Angelo can't." Dominic whirled on him, his eyes flashing dangerously. The 2 men stared each other down, a silent battle of wills. In the end, they both turned their attention to Peter, watching as he disappeared into the back room, unaware of the dark undercurrents swirling around him. The bus rumbled through the night-shrouded streets, a solitary beacon in the darkness. Peter sat lost in thought, his gaze drifting out the window. Suddenly, a flash of gray caught his eye, a 1984 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme veering right onto a nearby cross street. Instinct propelled him to action. He yanked the yellow cord, signaling for the bus to halt. Half a block later, it shuddered to a stop, and Peter leapt out, his heart pounding. He sprinted north, chasing the phantom car down the dimly lit side street. The moon cast an eerie glow, his only guiding light in the oppressive silence. Out of nowhere, rough hands seized him, dragging him into a dank alley. Peter slammed against the chain-link fence, the breath knocked from his lungs. Fists pummeled his stomach, his face. He crumpled to the ground, tasting blood. The thugs rifled through his pockets, seeking a score. "This loser doesn't have any money, just travel agency business cards," one sneered, flinging the cards in Peter's face. "What a loser," the other echoed. They unleashed a flurry of kicks, each impact resonating through Peter's battered body. He squeezed his eyes shut, praying for an end. Abruptly, the blows ceased. An unnatural hush fell over the alley. Peter dragged himself upright, his eyes widening in horror at the sight before him. The thugs lay motionless, their throats torn open, blood pooling beneath them. A figure dropped from the sky, landing behind Peter with feline grace. He whirled around, coming face to face with a nightmare made flesh. The creature was clad in black, a long coat billowing around him. His skin held the pallor of death, contrasting starkly with his shoulder-length ebony hair. But it was his eyes that froze Peter's blood, cold, predatory, inhuman. Peter's hands trembled uncontrollably as he stumbled back, a primal terror eclipsing even the fear of the mugging. The vampire stalked forward, closing the distance between them. Peter found himself transfixed by the gleaming fangs protruding from the creature's mouth, unable to tear his gaze away. The vampire's eyes bore into his, ancient and merciless, promising a fate far worse than any beating. In that moment, staring into the face of pure evil, Peter knew with certainty that his world would never be the same.